It's been a long time coming, but the trial of YNW Melly has officially begun. The process to get to this point was long and arduous for various reasons. Not the least was the global pandemic and the numerous extensions, hearings, and more that had to take place before the trial could commence. But now we're here, and things are already off to a fiery start. That's not surprising given that this is a double murder trial, and there are many who want nothing more than to put YNW Melly away for the crimes they feel he committed. We'll break it down for you, but first, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 5. Opening statements.
Do you want to win an iPhone 12, maybe a MacBook Pro? How about $500 cash? All you have to do is comment the secret hidden message somewhere in this video. That's it. Oh, and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep affording these giveaways. Winner will be announced at the last day of each month. Thanks for watching and good luck.
As is the norm, the whole thing started with opening statements, but both sides tried to make it clear to the jurors that their vision of events was right. But naturally, they had different views on the guilt and involvement of YNW Melly. During opening statements, the rapper's defense attorney strongly hit back against law enforcement's alleged non-existent theory for why Melly would have killed his friends all those years ago. Defense attorney David A. Howard acknowledged the state does not have to, because the law does not require the state to, prove his client's alleged motive in order to convict him of murder. But he invited Broward County jurors to look beyond the law and into the mind of the person on trial for the brutal deaths of 2 young men. Do you know what does require motive? The defense asked out loud before answering. A young man to wake up one day and decide that he's going to kill his 2 best friends. Best friends that he grew up with. Best friends that he hangs out with. Best friends who he lives with. Best friends whose careers he was trying to launch alongside his own. They have no reason for why he would do this because there is no reason. And if there's no reason, it doesn't make sense. Howard then went on to mock the alleged ineptitude of police and prosecutors by mimicking their voices in a cartoony fashion. And if after 4 years of investigation, the state comes and says, hey, he killed 2 of his best friends, and you're wondering why? And their answer is, I don't know. That's the first indication that they're just guessing and don't know what they're talking about. Howard went on, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is by itself reasonable doubt. To a certain extent, the defense attorney is right. You'd think that YNW Melly would have to have a pretty strong motive to suddenly and almost randomly kill 2 of his best friends. But for him to say that there is no motive merely because the police haven't presented it yet is a mistake. It may be true that they don't know the true motive, but if they can prove that he did the deed, it honestly doesn't matter. And as the rap genre and other people in life have proven, sometimes things happen in an instant, and no one can explain them later. Plus, a motive would be further undermined if YNW Melly actually confessed to what he did, albeit not in the way you'd expect. Number 4. The confession? Near the tail end of the state's first presentation to the 12 jurors who were impaneled to determine Melly's fate, prosecutor Christine Bradley claimed the defendant himself actually bragged about and admitted to the deadly shooting in a direct message on Instagram. The state took the opportunity to try and ding the rapper's popularity. In the Instagram, because the defendant had a moderate social media following at the time of these events, people were reaching out to him. Bradley said, "People are reaching out to him. Some fans, some friends, some associates. You'll see on October 26th, after about 8 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, multiple messages are coming in. Messages are coming in from individuals checking to see if he's okay." Melly has well over 4 million Instagram followers as of late, showing how much he'd built up before going to jail, and those who supported him after he got arrested. The prosecutor went on to say that people were checking to make sure Melly wasn't also hurt in the drive-by, using her hands to make quotation marks in the air in order to disparage the characterization. More on that later. One message allegedly received by Melly asks, "Yo homie, you good? Let me know something." Bradley then went on to discuss the concept of context and explain to jurors why it matters, in an attempt to argue that Melly's alleged response to that direct message had to be read in context. The state claims the rapper succinctly replied, "I did that. Shh." While there are many who would dismiss that for various reasons, it's been proven in the past that rappers will go to Instagram to make posts where they highlight crimes that they've done or try to show where they are and how they're on the run from someone. Rappers have legit been arrested for doing things like that. So if the prosecution can prove this was a legit confession, then Melly is already up the creek with this court case. Number 3. Melly during the trial. So if you're wondering how YNW Melly is looking and acting during the trial, it's a very curious thing for multiple reasons. Because as any courtroom drama will tell you, how a person who's accused of a crime acts during the trial itself can help convey certain things to the jury and the judge. For example, YNW Melly has been noted online to always look away when the prosecution or defense presents images of the victims. Why is this important? Well, it would seem to indicate that he's uncomfortable looking at the bodies of his former best friends. And if the jury were to believe that emotion, then they would ask themselves whether he really did the crime in question. Another thing he does apparently during the trial is that when the jury is brought in, he always looks them in the eye. You could take this one many different ways, but the implication is that he's trying to make a connection with the jurors to help him seem as more than just a defendant. So what does this mean on the whole, however? Well, not much. After all, there's a reason it's called trial prep, as well as acting. His defense team no doubt did everything they could to prep YNW Melly for everything that could happen in the trial, and how not to convey things that could negatively affect him in the jury's eyes. After all, the jury does command his fate in this case, and if they think he's guilty for even a moment, he's done for. The question will be if the jury falls for his tactics. But given the evidence that is stacking against him, it would be a hard thing to pull off. Number 2, the testimony and evidence. The biggest thing going against YNW Melly right now is that the first people that were called up to the stand for testimony were the officers, detectives, and crime scene technicians that were on the scene after the shooting was reported. They presented plenty of evidence, including the last video taken of the 4 men before YNW Melly and his accomplice, Cortland Henry, allegedly shot them. The detectives on the case even had an audio recording of Henry as he tried to explain his version of events. One of the things he tried to convey to the detectives was that it was a drive-by shooting that killed his friends. But as the detective noted, there were no traces of such an event. This is what led detectives to look inside the car more for clues to what really happened, and that's what got them what they needed to arrest the 2 for murder. Number 1, as the trial continues. So as for what happens now, that is simply letting the trial unfold and see what happens next. Both sides are going to try and prove their version of events to say that YNW Melly was either guilty of premeditated murder based on how the prosecution views things, or that he's innocent. If he is found guilty, he could face the death penalty, and it could be much easier to get that notion passed due to the new laws that have passed in Florida about the death penalty. Only time will tell though. And there you have it, everyone, a look at the court case of YNW Melly and how things are proceeding at present. What do you think was the highlight of the court case so far? Do you think that things are going to get even more in the weeds as we progress? Do you think that YNW Melly will find a way to get out of a life sentence or the death penalty? Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.
Do you want to win an iPhone 12, maybe a MacBook Pro? How about $500 cash? All you have to do is comment a secret hidden message somewhere in this video. That's it. Oh, and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep affording these giveaways. Winner will be announced at the last day of each month. Thanks for watching and good luck.